of what many people see as the invisible, and that is our homeless population. And as someone who's supported and been an avid person to ensure that people not only have a decent home, but they have quality housing, I commend you for being so young, but yet understanding such a large issue in this country, which isn't the homeless, but it's those that ignore the homeless. So I commend you. Wanda, thank you for inviting me. And so I'm going to tell you guys a little story. So at the age of 13, I started my first job. I participated in the city's Red Cap program. So now anybody in here over 40, and I see some head nodding, you guys remember the Red Cap program. So this was my first day of work. I was eager, I had on my office vest, and I was ready to start the job force as an administrative assistant. So imagine my surprise when instead of being handed a phone, I was handed a box. Okay, so instead of answering phones and completing filing and greeting guests, I spent my summer wiping down blinds, cleaning bathrooms, and other duties associated with custodian. So now custodial work is not foreign to me. My mother spent 15 years in the school system as a custodian, and I've spent many of those times along with her because at the time I thought it was cool to be able to hang out in the high schools. So, however, with that being said, did not envision spending my entire summer with hard labor. The only hard labor I anticipated doing was the heavy lifting of that phone from the base to my ear and speaking. But instead, I did a lot more. But what I will tell you is that summer I learned some valuable lessons. Number one, never accept a job without asking what the duties are. Number one. Always get clarification on the dress code because it's real hard to clean blinds and bathrooms and heels on your first day of work. Now here's the last thing, guys, I learned. Regardless of the position, do your best and give it all you have, even if you're only making $3.35 an hour, which was the minimum wage in 1980. Because you see, it was those work ethics that allowed me to spend in the summer as a custodian to being a store manager at the age of 18 when I graduated from school, to being president and CEO of Wealth Watchers Incorporated, which is where I am now. And so as new and returning students for P.O.P.S, you are learning and being exposed to professional opportunities throughout the school year. As Wanda said earlier, this is not just about a summer job. And as I was reading through the information on P.O.P.S, I was struck by their 3-star approach, which was focused on character building, college and career exploration, community and civic government. When I tell you that this 3-pronged approach will take you through life, and it'll take you a long way in preparing you either for a career or if you decide to be an entrepreneur. Because here's one thing we understand. We're part of an older workforce. And you guys have this real cool name as the millennial generation. So either if we don't already know what it's like to work with you guys, we need to understand. Because here's some things, I want to read you some things about you guys as the millennial workforce. Each of you, you want immediate feedback and attention. You know, we tend to call that being spoiled, but y'all want to know right then what you think. And you want that attention. You prefer the instant gratification of texting to the slow response of an email. You prefer casual attire so you can be yourselves. At work, you want more flexibility with scheduling and work location. You value the nature and importance of work over pay and benefits. And you want to be involved in the strategy and not just told what to do. Recent studies have suggested that growing up with so much media and technology that it's creating a generation of people with shorter attention spans and less willingness to dig deep into different subjects. So that's you guys. But here's one thing I want you to understand. Until you outweigh us, there is some things you need to know about the older workforce. And there are some things that we can embark on you that will assist you in achieving your professional goals and, quite frankly, improving your chances of being hired by someone from that older workforce. So these values are based on hard work and diligence. And you've heard them over and over again, and as you go through the P.O.P.S program, you also have heard it. So let me just tell you a little bit. Integrity. That's number one. Because at the end of the day, all you have is your name. And people are going to far remember the bad stuff you do versus the good stuff you do, unless you don't do the bad stuff. Now, nobody's perfect. I do some bad stuff. But I try to make sure that my good outweighs my bad, because I know that the mind is going to shift to those bad things. You need to have a sense of responsibility. Many of you, hopefully by now, ironing your own clothes and getting your own selves up for school and not waiting on mom and dad to do that for you. It's going to be the same when you get in the workforce. You got to have a sense of responsibility. Take ownership. Own it. Even if you mess up, own it. Take responsibility. We will appreciate that a lot more. A commitment. You notice when I talked about that summer job, even at 13 years old, one of the things my mom always taught me is that if you start something, you finish it. And it's the same way when you get into the workforce. Be a finisher. And you will think that that is very simple. But I will tell you, as someone who's spent a lot of her time in the workforce, is that people are not finishers. They will start 5 to 6, 10 different things, and at the end of the day, they finish none. So have that commitment to take it to the end. You got to be disciplined. Especially during the summer, or even like now, there's a game going on. And I know if I did a survey of hands, how many of you would rather be out there with your friends watching that basketball game versus being in here listening to us? Not that we're not entertaining, but, you know, we're competing. We're competing. But you've got to be disciplined enough to know that there's a time and place for everything. And, you know, I fully agree, and I'm the poster child for you got to work hard, but you got to play hard. But there's a time and place for both. So you got to have that commitment. The last thing you have to have is a sense of team. Many organizations spend millions of dollars every year trying to understand that teamwork dynamic. Because what they realize is that there is no I in team. And that in order to get anything accomplished, whether it's on a sports team, whether it's in P.O.P.S, no matter what you're doing in life, it's not very many things that you can do by yourself. But being a part of a team is not just a group of people that are coming together to do something.
of those